Hello, everyone. This is your Maven of Mystery, and I have a few things on my mind. I wanted to show you something. Hold on. I don't know how clear this will show up, but this is me in 2015. At that point in my life, I was over 450 pounds, and I didn't do much of anything. And I didn't, like wake up one day and I was totally overweight and lethargic and, having a hard time moving, mobility issues, and, at the worst, for my diabetes and having lymphedema and having a whole host of things going on. It it came on from a lifetime of yo-yo dieting, going up and down, up and down, up and down. And I could stay on a food plan, a diet, for a good amount of time, and I could lose upwards of 100 pounds every time. But then, I would have this success, and somehow I would go back to eating the way I used to because I'd lost all that weight and it was okay. And so instead of changing my diet, I really needed to change my mind. And I, kept going over the same cycle of yo-yo dieting. I'd get to a point when I was sick of it and I wanted to lose weight, and I would find a diet. I went on Weight Watchers. The first one that I went on was a doctor had put me on when I was preteen, and that was the Stillman water diet. And from there, they had a candy that you would take with a hot drink, like about a half an hour before you ate. And it's funny, the brand was called AIDS, AIDS, AIDS candy. And so I was doing that. I went on, whatever was the diet of the day. At one point, I lost a little over 100 pounds with Weight Watchers. But right before I started doing the maintenance program, I got distracted and did something else. I had other things that I wanted to do besides go to these meetings. And I kept it kind of off for about a year or so. And then I was slowly climbing the weight ladder again. This last, time, I had lost 100 pounds, 125 pounds in 2001, and was looking pretty good. And then my depression kicked in. There was a whole bunch of stuff going on with the church that I was going to. Leadership wanted to lift me up and, show me off as a good example. And in doing so, kind of highlighted me up as a target, and a lot of people opposed my food plan and, what I was doing. And little by little, I just got worn down. And I gave into my depression, and I started gaining weight again, and I gained back the 125 pounds plus more. At that point, I moved to Nashville. I was about 350 pounds. After Nashville fiasco, I limped home, and I was upwards of 350, probably close to 400. And I just had a lot of issues. And the more weight that I gained, the less I was able to do. And so it's like this crazy cycle of, the less you do, the more weight you gain. And then you can do even less than you could do before. So I struggled. I moved out to Sacramento, and it was hard for me to walk distances, taking care of myself. I needed someone to help me. Someone was cooking for me and doing everything, was my fiance. Well, at the time, we were just girlfriends, and she was my caregiver for a while. And then my son came up from Arizona. He became my caregiver. And I just got, worse and worse and more immobile. And the more immobile I got, the more depressed I got, the more weight I gained. It was crazy. My doctor had me have physical and occupational therapy because it was really getting hard for me to move. And these ladies really did, work with me. One more so than the other, she was able to reach me a lot better than the other one. And I was starting to move. I was starting to do things. And then I got seriously ill. I had an infection. I didn't realize I had cellulitis. And we went to the emergency room, and I ended up going into septic shock that night. They put me under. My blood pressure had bottomed out, so they filled me full of fluids, antibiotics, the whole, 9 yards. And I was intubated. I was intubated for 11 days. I was sedated for 9. And during that period of time, I lost the ability to walk. So, there I was. And that was a pretty crazy period right then. Anyway, I ended up, being discharged to a rehab facility, and they were attempting to get me to walk with physical therapy. I was supposed to be getting it 6 days a week, and ultimately it wasn't working out. They were trying, they had me doing bed exercises, and then they wanted me to stand, and I had no strength in my legs to stand. They did accomplish getting me up on my feet, but that was with 2 people helping me. So it wasn't really me in my strength standing up. And but they called it good, and they kept trying to do that, which wasn't working. It wasn't helping me. And because it wasn't helping me, they said that I plateaued, and they discharged me to home. I wasn't home for very long when I got an infection in my lungs, and I was back in the hospital. And I was intubated again. When they took the tube out of me, they said that my left lung was completely opaque, that it was full, that they could not get the mucus out. And so they discharged me home on hospice. And they said that that I wouldn't walk again. That, if I survived the hospice, that my lungs wouldn't be strong enough to support me walking. So basically, they were telling me that I just pretty much had to get used to being bedridden. And all through this time, I was actually losing weight. Not because I was doing anything. In fact, I wasn't eating. I had no appetite. And only time I ate was when I knew that I should eat. It wasn't that I wanted to, but I tried to eat, at least 3 times a day, and I ate very small meals because I just had no desire to eat. And after a few bites of this and a few bites of that, it was like, I'm done. My family did, help me and encouraged me. And I mean, my son did everything for me, even bathed me and moved me because I didn't have the strength to roll from side to side, so he would help me with that. Because you really shouldn't just lay in one position for, a huge length of time. So that's where I was at. Then one day, my home health care aide was giving me a bath, and she was washing my hair, so she took the oxygen, the cannula off so that she could wash my hair. And after she was finished, she left, and it wasn't until the end of the day when I was going to bed that I realized I didn't have the cannula on, and I hadn't had it on all day. So I was kind of freaking out because I have anxiety. And Pam gave me the pulse oximeter, and we checked my breathing, and it was fine. It was like 94, which is excellent. Well, it's better than, better than 80. Anyway, so that was like, I was like, huh, okay. The next home visit from my nurse, she examined me and she listened to my lungs, and she said, I hear breath sounds in both of your lungs, which was amazing because there hadn't been any in my left lung. So then I thought, okay, I'm not going to die. And I started, getting up in the wheelchair. And when I say getting up, I mean my son got the Hoyer lift and, rolled the sling put the sling on under me, and I rolled back and forth with their assistance. And then they pick you up via the lift, and it looks like you're in a hammock. And he bring me out to the living room and sit me in the wheelchair, and I would stay. And at first, I could only stay about an hour sitting up before I would be in pain. But I pushed, and every day I wanted to be in the wheelchair because I know that the more upright you are, the better it is for your lungs. So, yeah. Then November, 6 months after they put me on hospice, I graduated from hospice and onto home health, physical therapy, and occupational therapy. And from then, in January, I stood up on my own for the first time in over a year. Then by March, I was walking short distances with my walker. Now, all through this, I've gone to doctors. I have a nephrologist for my kidneys, a cardiologist for my heart. My primary takes care of the diabetes, and I see a pulmonologist for my lungs. And with all of the different conditions I have, they have different restrictions food-wise. So with my heart, I have to limit sodium and cholesterol and my fluid intake. For nephrology, I have to limit my potassium, phosphates, magnesium, zinc, protein, carbs, no caffeine, no chocolate. And then with the diabetes, I have to limit my sugar and certain fruits and stuff. So it made it very hard to, I mean, a lot of times when you go to the grocery store and you look for things with no salt or low sodium, the potassium is higher. If you look for things that are low in potassium, the sodium is higher. So you have to do a lot of research. I had to do a lot of research to find a balance of things that I could eat, and that would, help me. I also found I have an app on my phone called My Net Diary, and I can record all the nutritional value of my foods. I get up in the morning and I plan what I'm going to eat that day, and I see how it is set up as far as the sodium, potassium, calcium, enzymes, and if I'm going over a certain level, then I readjust my menu so that I can stay within the certain parameters. I just want to help other people to get healthy. I exercise. I I follow my food plan religiously, because for me, if I don't, I'm gonna die, and I would rather live with a restricted food plan than to not live at all. And for that, I am extremely grateful. I am very happy. And I just want to encourage everyone. I had doctors, I've been overweight nearly my entire life, and I would have doctors admonish me or direct me or want to order me to lose weight. And some of them could, use taking their own advice. And so I would discount it. I'd be like, oh yeah? Well, what about you? And I wouldn't say that, I would just think that. But all of that was really good advice. And I should have, and I'm not going to shoot on myself, but it would have been nice if I had listened before my life was threatened. And that's one of the things that I want to, express to you is, do what, is healthy. It's really hard to to change your mind. It's not easy, but in the long run, it's going to do you so much good. I'm bipolar, and I was on Effexor and lithium for a long period of time, and I was at a pretty high dose of both. And I didn't find out till I was in kidney disease or my creatinine level was extremely high, that those were kind of contributing to it. And so, I just encourage you to look into what your medication is, how it's going to affect your body in the long run. I've learned to be an advocate for myself when I'm in the doctor's office or most places. I used to be very complacent, and I would do what I was told. Whenever the doctor said whatever, I would just kind of yes sir it and go and do it. Except where weight was concerned, that was real. Anyway, um, so if I can do it, I know that you all can do it too, because I I I struggled with it, my whole life, and now it's like second nature to me. I don't, yearn. I don't, lament that I can't do, I don't want any poor yous or, or anything like that. It's just like I wish that I had come to this revelation a lot sooner than being at death's door. And I hope for everyone who hears this that they would, do the same and take notice of themselves and where they can make changes. And anyway, if you, I just, wish us all luck. And I just want to say thanks for listening. If you like my video, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. If you have any comments or anything you want to share, just, leave me a comment. But, I believe that we can all do this and live a healthier life. So, thanks for watching. Bye.